Testing. One.
Just you're live.
I'm live.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? This is Daniel. One half of the Kwak Brothers. I am back from 2 weeks of being at a church camp, where I had absolutely zero signal or any contact with the outside world. So it's good to be back, folks. It's good to be back in the office. It's good to be back to my normal life, so to speak. And if you'll excuse me, I'm just trying to get the chat up so I could see what you guys are saying, so I could interact with all of you pretty people, right? But it feels good to be back. I miss camp food, I will say that. I miss the kids that were there that I had a lot of opportunities to talk with and impact and communicate. And I definitely miss camp life. But it feels good to be back with Sam. It feels good to be back with Lisa and Joel and Chris and Dave and all the people in our office, and it feels good to be in my second home. Let me see here. Oh, I hear myself in the background. That's pretty cool. It's like an echo. Let me see here. Let me get.
Want to turn the iris up a little bit more?
So do I want to dissolve the volume on this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure that's muted.
Yeah.
Can't see. It's. Let's see.
So question is, how do I look at the chat from here? Mm-mm. Oh, I see. Okay, and it should be.
There's already people saying hi.
Oh, cool. Hi, everyone. There's people already.
7 people.
7 people saying hi.
Not saying hi, but just on there.
Oh, 7 people just on there, not saying hi. Okay.
Some of them are just ignoring you.
Some of them are just ignoring me, apparently. You think it's gonna be okay with the charger?
So there you go. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
There's your chat.
There's my chat. Cool.
We'll just turn off audio here.
Hey, there's me
Hey, it's me.
and you.
Welcome, dude. Alright, yeah. Can you read it?
Yeah. Is there a way I could just have the chat so I don't have to look at my face? It's creepy.
I never pop out chat. There you go.
Hey, all right, that's better. So it's gonna be live. Okay. Hey, can someone do me a favor? Can someone type something on the chat so that way I could see if it comes up or not?
You don't see the other people's chats?
Oh, no, I do, but I don't know if it's live.
Yeah, these are all live chats.
Oh, those are all live?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You ready to start?
All right, yeah, let's do it.
Go ahead.
What's going on, guys? This is Daniel, one half of the Kwak Brothers. Welcome to our Monday morning, 11 a.m. Central Time, real estate live Q&A session. It's been a while. It's been a while, folks. I've been gone for 2 weeks. I've been serving and volunteering at a church camp in Decatur, Illinois, called Camp Warren. If you guys want to see what I've been up to, and if you want to learn more about the camp, I mean, this camp honestly just changes the lives of so many young people. Whether they have battling anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, or but it's a camp that I've been serving and volunteering after the last 2 weeks, and it's such a life-changing camp, and has brought so many good people to help out. And it's a church camp, so the goal was to bring as many kids to Jesus as much as possible, and we definitely got that goal accomplished. So it was awesome. I had a great time, but it feels good to be back here. And Cat in the Hat says, hi, sexy, take off your shirt. Unfortunately, I can't do that because since I'm getting monetized from YouTube, technically showing off my body would be prostitution under the law of the United States. So I'm not okay with that. All right. We also have one question, and we also have a couple people telling me to. All right, we have one guy specifically. I'm assuming you are a woman. Um, Hopefully a woman. But anyways, not that I'm saying it's not good to have a man ask another guy to take off his shirt. But it's 2019, people. I gotta be careful. But it's overall good to be back here with you guys. Feels good to be back in the office and doing this, right? I missed this. I missed being in the studio and hanging out with you guys. So, J Locals Art has a question already. So I have an option of buying a home that is beautiful and has 20 acres, and my other option is a beautiful home with a guest house that is rented out to college students. If New York passes recreational marijuana, then the 20-acre house would be ideal. Which do you think is better for my future of a family of 4? Also, the 20-acre home is $50,000 cheaper, and the college home only has half an acre. Thank you. All right, so we have two options here, right? And I'm gonna readjust this computer so I could see better. There we go. Okay. So first option is buying a home in New York that has 20 acres, and the other one is a beautiful home with a guest house that is rented out to college students. If NY, that'd be recreational and 20 houses. Okay, so I'm not sure why. New York passing the recreational marijuana law would have anything to do with your financial real estate. I mean, maybe it does, right? Maybe I just don't know the backstory to what's going on here. But I always say for the future family of 4, I don't know. I mean, like many answers in real estate, it does depend. It absolutely does depend. The 20-acre home looks like it's $50,000 cheaper, and the college only has that. So now the question becomes, what can you do with that $50,000? Can you do something with that $50,000 that's going to produce more income for you than having the college house and renting it out? Now, I will say this: if you're looking to acquire a family or build a family and create one, then I don't know if having a bunch of college students in your guest house that is very close to your own personal home is going to be the best thing. And I always say prepare for the worst, right? So when I'm thinking of the worst and it comes to college people, right? Like I'm visualizing loud music. I'm visualizing a lot of dangerous activity and a lot of reckless behavior. Not to say that all college students are like that. I'm only 3 years removed from college, so. But at the same time, I know the reality of kids that age. I mean, even kids my age, so to speak. I know the reality of other people in that age group that rent out particular housing. Especially because I have a lot of investor friends that do rent out to college students, and well, there's going to be a lot of maintenance stuff. There's going to be a lot of repairs and a lot of things that you're just going to have to look over. It's going to be more micromanagement, so to speak. For all my office fans out there, micromanagement, right? So I don't know. It does depend on what you are looking for. If I were you, I would sit down with your significant other. From what it sounds like, I'm gonna assume that you have, because if you're serious about having a family of 4, then I'm assuming that there's a significant other in your life currently. I would sit down with them and then just draw out a piece of paper or like a whiteboard like this one, and draw out the pros and cons. Some things I've already listed off. Pros, you're going to be able to manage an asset that's producing income very close. In the summers it'll be open, so you could have friends and family stay there. Con is going to be potentially loud music, a lot of things that's going to disrupt your family life. May not be the safest thing for your children, future children, and your family, and also the $50,000 difference, so to speak, right? Yeah, and again, I probably want to know more context behind the $50,000 as to why the recreational marijuana, why that is such an important key factor. Obviously important enough for you to mention it. So yeah, that's what I would say, right? Any other questions, guys, about real estate? I'm gonna adjust some things here just so I could see who's on.
We got 4 people watching right now.
All right. It's a little slow today, but it's all good. If there's no questions, I always have some training. Cat in the Hat asks, "Am I Jesus?" We all are. You know what I mean, right? Like the Bible teaches us that we have to be Jesus in this world, meaning that we love people unconditionally and we show them love, and Jesus loves me. So my philosophy is that the love that Jesus and God has for me, I'm going to overflow it out of my life, and I'm going to love people as best as I can, which allows me to do stuff like this, right? So me giving up an hour of Monday, which for me a lot of times is the busiest day with meetings and different things like that. Me giving up an hour to do this, to provide you guys free content and answer all your guys' real estate investing questions. I do it because I love our subscribers. I love the people that support our channel. I love the people who, show up, right? Show up and give us many views and whatnot. So I love it. That's why I do it, out of the outpouring and the overflow of the love that Jesus has for me. All right, Matt Smith asks, how many offers should one make per day? Do you have a specific amount of deals you analyze per day? So I'd say it depends. It depends on what exit strategy you're doing. If you're wholesaling and you're an active wholesaler, then yeah, you should probably make a lot of offers a day. I mean, I follow a lot of different wholesalers on YouTube. I follow, Max Maxwell. I know that's a really big popular one. Wolfpack Group is a really good friend of mine, Mr. Russell Walker. I know his philosophy is, I think he makes like 5 offers a day. And he uses, kind of that metric, the rule of numbers, so to speak, or, you make 100 offers, then, 20 of them get accepted, and, you actually close on 5, and, you cash out on this. I know there's like the law of averages and the law of numbers. I always say look to improve your process rather than just make, massive phone calls. Because my big thing on real estate is like, if you're not in real estate to create passive income and you're not in real estate to become financially free, I'm not sure why you're doing real estate. If you're doing it just as a side hustle, to make an extra $2,000-$3,000 a month, and you love your job on the side, then that's great too. But other than being a wholesaler and being a more of a transactional real estate investor, if you're looking to buy apartment complexes, if you're looking to buy single family houses, if you're looking to buy notes or something more passive, which is what 80% of real estate investors I feel like are going for, or even fix and flips, because fix and flips require time as well. If you're doing something like that, then I say for me, the number of offers you make is not as important as the quality. A lot of people use the law of numbers and the law of averages to kind of pigeonhole the concept of being an entrepreneur, of being an investor. And what I mean by that is the definition for me in being an entrepreneur and a real estate investor is that, your goal is to solve problems. If you're a real estate entrepreneur, it literally means solve problems in the industry of real estate. So if you're solving problems in the industry of real estate, well, you're most likely not going to have time to do 10 a day. That's just not realistic, because if you have 10 deals in the pipeline or you're creating 10 new opportunities every single day, well, that means per month you're talking to 300 people and you're trying to solve 300 problems. And if it's just you and you don't have, 10 other investors that you work with, well, that's realistically not going to be the case. I'd rather have 10 people a month that I'm working with that I solve their problem and I get really good deals out of than have 100 deals that are mediocre. Now, granted, I may make more money with the 100 people, right? Like kind of solving their problem. But for me, I want to get in the habit of providing excellence. I want to get in the habit of providing a lot of value. And even if that means only helping out 10 people and making $10,000 a month, then so be it, compared to helping out 100 people and making $20,000 a month. Because I know if I help out those 10 people a lot, well, that's referrals, and that's expanding my network, expanding my business. For me, I rather have depth than mass. For me, at least. I never want to be a mile wide and an inch deep. That's just not my philosophy in business, and that's not something that's worked out rather great for me, so to speak. Do I have a specific amount of deals you analyze per day? Not necessarily, but I do look at a lot of deals, and I'm at the point now where if somebody sends me a deal, I could look at it for about 10 minutes, probably more closer to 5 minutes, right? And I can tell whether or not it's going to be a good deal. Some deals I look at, and within 30 seconds, it's like, all right, I don't want it. So for me, it depends, right? But I will say this: in the year of 2018, I looked at slash analyzed over 1,300 deals in that year. Analyzed 1,300 deals, and yet I only made offers on 9, just because I felt like the market, everybody was doing real estate. It was very competitive. Market was not the best time to go after, because if you have 20, 30 people going after the same deal, then yeah, it's tough, right? And I never want to overpay for any particular asset, so I only went after 9. But at the same time, my investors that invest with me, my partners and investors that invest with me, they know that if I'm gonna bring them a deal, like, it's gonna be good. I'm not bringing them some scrub deals. I'm bringing them the top 1% of the deals I look at. So, there's a lot of conviction and integrity within my system because of that. Let's see. Sorry, I forgot to put it in, but if New York passes recreational marijuana, then I could use part of the 20 acres to grow marijuana via supply. Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool. So it's an additional stream of income for you. That's great. And I know a lot of individuals that are involved with recreational drugs and recreational marijuana. I see a lot of them get involved in real estate because I know that they're not able to put their money in the banks just because marijuana is not legal on a federal basis, and that this allows for individuals who participate in the industry to put their money in the banks, right? So a lot of them I know are putting them in real estate, which is great. I think I actually have a couple investors who are involved with recreational marijuana in the industry. And for me, I try and stay out of it because for me, my faith and my relationship with God and my church community, I know that marijuana is something that they do not agree with, but I still love the people. I still love individuals who partake in it, who are involved in it, who make money off it. I'll never judge the way anybody puts food on the table for their family. But at the same time, I know with my faith background and individuals in my church, let's say I don't actively pursue that. But if an investor were to come to me and a part of their income, it has to do with marijuana basis, I'm going to look more to the person and their heart more than, blackball them, so to speak, just because they have marijuana attached to their name. All right, any more questions on real estate, guys? Right, it's a very slow crowd. I know it's July 1st. We're kind of nearing that holiday weekend. I know a lot of people, it's nice out, so, a lot of people may not be involved. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on real estate investing, while I look for questions, I'm actually going to plug in my phone in my charger. Let's see. There we go. All right. Here in Colorado, a lot of hemp farms have been showing up. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of states out west, I know in California and Colorado, I got a lot of buddies out there who I've networked with who are involved in the business, and they like it. They love the idea, and it's been providing some great return. So absolutely. Well, in the meantime, since no one has questions, and while you guys have questions, hey Dave, can you do me a favor? I have a water bottle on top of the counter. It should be next to the coffee. Can I get? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. I have great people in my office, man. These people are awesome. But yeah, no. So I guess I should start talking about some things that I've been seeing in the market. Thank you so much. I've been seeing in the market that really kind of piqued my interest. And I saw a video on YouTube the other day basically saying that synthetic CDOs have now been massively pushed by JP Morgan, which if you guys don't know what synthetic CDOs are, let me put it this way. If you guys watch the movie The Big Short, I highly recommend you watching the movie. But basically what synthetic CDOs were, it was a portfolio of assets and mortgages that back then were extremely over leveraged. So people were giving out mortgages like crazy. Everybody was able to get a mortgage. The financing and the money was overall really cheap. that debt, right, all those mortgages and notes got put into a portfolio, and they called it a synthetic CDO, and they started trading around, right? They started buying and selling these CDOs, and the reason why, the recession and the crash happened was because these CDOs, although they were really bad debt, it was terrible debt, these rating agencies gave them a really good rating, and they go from AAA to, I think it's triple B, but they gave them a really good rating, right? They gave them a AAA rating, and these banks and these institutions were buying these debts thinking that they were really good debt, right? So it's almost like they were selling, an apartment complex that had a lot of repairs, and the tenants weren't paying rent, and yet, a lot of these brokerage firms, they put out really good cap rates. They were saying that the building, basically lying. If I'm gonna say it plainly, they were lying, with these rating agencies, with the ratings. So I just found out, I just read a video and read a lot of articles and just kind of went down this rabbit hole that it's starting again. And it started May 29th, I believe. They started pushing out these mass synthetic CDOs. Basically, synthetic means that it's worse because it's not only notes, but it's notes on top of the notes is what synthetic CDOs are. So really interesting stuff, man. Really interesting stuff. If I were to put a car magnet on your car to advertise, what would you put on sign? So if you were to put a car magnet on your sign. So something along the lines, if I were to put a car magnet on my car right now, I'd probably put something along the lines of investors. And I do that because I'm currently in the process of setting up a 506c, which means that allows me to crowdfund and basically freely advertise me raising money, so to speak. So that's probably what I would put. Let's see, we got 12. All right, we got more viewers. For the viewers who are just coming in now, I've returned from my 2-week hiatus of volunteering at a church camp. If you guys want to know more about this camp, feel free to check out gocampwarren.com. It's a camp I've been going back now for 6 years. I love this camp and what they do to help young people out with their problems. I love it. I absolutely love it. They genuinely love people over there. I certainly give, as much as I can to this camp as well. So if you guys feel led to financially support, it would honestly, and I don't ask for anything for stuff like this, guys, for like the free Q&A and all the videos we put out for free, all the content we put out for free. I don't ask for much, but if you want to do something, go to gocampwarren.com and donate and contribute financially. I know they could absolutely use it and they would love it. So I want to put that in there just because it's rightfully so. It's rightfully placed. All right, guys, any more questions on real estate investing? We've got 11 people watching. Any questions on real estate investing, guys? I'm here. You guys have me for the next 40 minutes. It'd be really cool if we had if they had like a handcuff to like this table, and there was a timer, and until it became noon, right? The handcuff gets released, right? So that'd be really fun. That'd be really, really fun. Any questions, guys? Let me see. Something else that's going on in the market. I'm seeing a lot of over-leveraged apartment complexes being put back on the market. Matter of fact, where I live, which is in one of the western suburbs of Illinois, there was actually 5 buildings that got sold. They were on the MLS, 5 buildings that got sold about a year ago, a year or two ago, and overpaid, and they're back on the market a year and a half later. Crazy stuff. Man, I'm like really struggling with this water bottle. Oh, there we go, I got it. But yeah, back on the market a year and a half later, just because they overpaid, they couldn't keep up with the debt, and now they're in a position where they have to sell. Really interesting stuff. All right, Jesus Zamora asked, do you think California is the best place to invest with the upcoming crash? So here's my thing on California, the West Coast and East Coast in general. The West Coast and East Coast in general is so much like a roller coaster. The values go so high and the values go super low. In terms of a crash, that depends. If you're a good investor and you know how to maneuver, I know places like California, Illinois, they have ridiculously high taxes. So I don't know if it's going to be the best thing. I also know they have some of the most tenant-friendly landlord and tenant laws. Like Illinois is the most tenant-friendly you could ever imagine. We have in Illinois something called squatters' rights, which is, in my opinion, the most stupidest thing in the world. Because if you're a squatter, you're committing a crime, right? Like you're literally stealing. You're stealing housing. You're not paying rent. You know, you're violating a lease agreement, which is a contract, by the way. You're violating the law. And they have rights. That's, you know what I mean? Like for me, that's kind of like I'm scratching my head at the logic of that. You know, it's kind of weird to me. So, you know, I always say, you know, a lot of investors make their decisions just based on the market. I always say look at the context of the state. You know, if you're looking to take advantage, because I'm assuming, Jesus, you're asking that question because California is a high value, low value state when it comes to the housing market and real estate. But there's other states out there where, you know, they have better laws revolving around being a real estate investor and a landlord. And at the same time, you're still able to enjoy that low value acquisition. And I'm thinking of places like, you know, Texas, Florida. I'm thinking of places like Washington. Thinking of places like Arizona, because I know a lot of investors are heading to Arizona right now. A lot of the southern states, I know a lot of the investors are buying there, which means opportunities when the crash comes. And also states, you know, like Virginia, states like Florida, you know what I mean? So there's other states that you'll be able to enjoy that low value acquisition and still have the investor friendly law, so to speak. I noticed the price drops like crazy. Yeah, Vegas is huge. And I remember Vegas like a year or two ago where every investor wanted to buy in Vegas. Like you could not find a house like that was on the market for more than like a month. It was crazy. It was nuts. So yeah, thank you, Matt Smith, for that observation. Are buying multiple houses, how do you decide whether to give them for rent or sell? Yeah, so for me, I always calculate my return on investment per house. So what I'll do is, you know, and houses don't get used for cap rates, but I'll still do it anyways. So what I'll do is I'll take each house, I'll take the purchase price, expenses, and figure out what's my ROI, what's my cap rate, and I'll also compare it to the value. So if I have a house that has a high selling value, like it's gonna sell for a lot, but yet at the same time I'm not gonna get the most bang for my buck, well then those are the ones I would sell. The ones I want to keep are the ones that have low expenses, the ones that have the low value, but they produce a lot of income and rent. You know, and with single family houses that will occur because single family houses are more based on comparables and location rather than the income source, so to speak. So, you know, if I have 20 houses and I have 5 houses that, you know, don't produce as much rent or they produce the average rent yet their values are so high, well then I can sell the high value houses to Mr. and Mrs. Jones who want to buy a house and that's their dream home, like they want to raise a family there and whatnot. So those are the ones that I would sell, and then the rest of the ones I would keep. Hi Daniel, just got in, and apologies if you've answered this. Do you still consider a lead doable if there are federal liens on it? Under what conditions and terms will you negotiate with the seller? So I've seen a lot of acquisitions where if you take care of the liens and the the tax deeds, whatever it may be, you get access to the house. Now, if you are looking to use that as an acquisition strategy, I would highly consider looking at like tax auctions where you could purchase the tax lien and the tax deed, and if it's not redeemable by a certain period, you actually acquire the property. That's something I would really look into. Another way you could do it is through a short sale if they're under default or they're kind of steps away from being in foreclosure. That's something I would consider as well. But I would still, anything's a deal, right? Any lead is doable. Anything's a deal. Just having that awareness, I would say have a really good real estate attorney on staff or on retainer, or in relationship if you're looking to deal with federal liens and or state liens or tax liens, whatever it may be. Have a really good real estate attorney on bay, right, on deck, because he's going to be very useful. If you don't have a real estate attorney that on staff or on deck for stuff like that, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a really long day for you. So yeah, have you had more time to look at the all-in-one loan? I haven't, just because Sam is more into the all-in-one, like the HELOCs and stuff like that. Monica. I'm mainly more in the real estate investing and the business aspect of it. But I'm sure you could check out our different videos that talk about the all-in-one. I'm sure that will help you a lot. Aren't those the ones that combine your checking? Yeah, pretty much. So Jesus, Monica, again, check out our other videos that talk about the all-in-one. And I say that because Sam puts in a lot of work in those videos, and they're good. They're genuinely good, man. And for us, the Kwak Brothers and our YouTube channel, we probably come out with, man, like a video a day, but we only post the ones that we feel like provide you guys tremendous value. So we definitely don't hold back in posting stuff out there, Any other questions, guys, about real estate investing? Man, it's like hot with all these lights. I'm starting to get lightheaded, honestly. Like I'm breathing heavy, and I feel like I'm in a microwave, Let's see. What else is going on in the market? Oh, do you have a resource that took you to the next level? Yeah, it's called the Kwak Brothers Real Estate Investing Education Company. No, so what really took me to the next level is, when I first started, and this is actually a really good question. That's something that I can get a little deeper on, because I feel like a lot of you guys that watch our YouTube, the people that don't ask me to take my shirt off, for those of you guys that missed it, there was a guy in here earlier who asked me to take my shirt off. I think he was kind of joking. I don't know if he was like drunk or whatever, but for those of you guys that watch a lot of our channel, I know you guys are just starting out in the world of real estate investing. So that's a really good question. So thank you, Matt Smith, for asking that question, because that's something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. A lot of people ask, how did I start? But a lot of people don't ask enough, how did I get to the next level? How did I go from amateur and beginner to a pro and into an expert? So to answer your question, Matt, at first, when I first started out in real estate investing, I remember wanting to learn everything. So I remember buying like a lot of different programs, and I remember spending tens of thousands of dollars and, buying classes and watching every single YouTube video and, reading every single book I could find on real estate investing. And honestly, like what took me to the next level, is when I started having a one-on-one coach. When I started learning with somebody one-on-one, and there was about 2 or 3 people that I learned one-on-one, that I really learned kind of under their wing. They took me under their wing, and 2 people I actually ended up doing deals with. But I shadowed them, meaning that I met them in their office at 9 a.m. and I would literally watch them work. I would see that the phone calls that they would do on a daily basis. I would see the deals they would analyze, and I would see how they analyzed it. And I also learned a lot of great things in terms of how they analyzed it as a team. So it was more than just one person, and it got to a point after about 6 months where I became an active participant in analyzing their deal, where I would ask questions that would help get more information. I would do the numbers, and I would use my and break down certain things, and I would go on site visits where I would go with them in their car, and I would walk through the property, and I would ask questions like, hey, why did you stop? And why did you look at that? Why did you ask the realtor and the broker that question? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And for me, that was priceless. It was absolutely priceless for me to be able to see that and shadow them. So what really got me to the next level, was it was shadowing them, having that one-on-one relationship, having somebody where I could ask questions and have somebody available 24/7. On top of it, I never stopped doing what got me started. So even today, I never stopped doing that. And there's things that you just never stop doing. And it's a lot like sports, it's a lot like, even lifting weights. If you're a weightlifter and you are competing, yeah, there's things that you're going to do at a higher level, So if you're a professional basketball player, yeah, you're going to do things that, the high school players and middle school players are not going to do, right? Like if you're, a professional NBA player, you're probably going to understand the strategy and the tactics of the game much more, right? Like you're gonna know what it means to do like a backdoor cut, pick and roll to the high screen post, and then do a swing out in the wind, right? Like you're gonna understand that type of lingo, right? But if you're like a high school basketball player, well, you're not gonna know as much advanced strategies and tactics. But if you're a professional, you're still gonna practice your layups. You're still gonna practice, boxing out. You're still gonna practice, the fundamentals, right? Doing a proper chest pass and, playing with other people, ball movement and high pressure defense. You're still gonna practice that. So, as you're having a one-on-one individual and you're thinking about taking yourself to the next level, a lot of taking yourself to the next level is doing the things that got you started really well. So even today, I still attend conferences, I still attend meetups, and I have my own meetup, right? And keep in mind, guys, like if you're in the Chicagoland area, every first and third Saturday of every month, I host my own meetup in Naperville, Illinois, right? So I still attend meetups, I still listen to podcasts, I still read books, I listen to a lot of resources, which if you guys want to know a good resource, my good friend of mine, name is Joe Fairless. He's got a YouTube channel that talks a lot about real estate investing, and I still learn a lot from that channel as well, and it's probably my most visited channel in terms of what I look at as a resource. He's got a podcast called The Best Ever Real Estate Investing Podcast, which in my opinion, it's not. The best is the Kwak Brothers Real Estate Investing Podcast, right? But, shout out to my friend Joe. Shout out to Joe Fairless, a good friend of mine, for, putting out a lot of great content. So check that out as well. But, yeah, have a one-on-one person that's going to take you to the next level. How do you decide what details to put in your flip rentals that make your house pop when compared to the comps in the neighborhood? Gotta stay fresh. Nah, mean. Yeah, nah, mean. All right, so I always say the best person to talk to is your realtor, right? So for me, even when I do fix and flips right now, I got about 6 going on right now, and I'm obviously very active in the rental game. So for me, when I look at a fix and flip, I don't actually walk through with my contractor. The first thing I do is I walk through with the realtor that I'm going to sell it with, that I'm going to have a listing agreement with, and that's because that realtor is going to know what sells in that market. So before I do any finishes or I do any rehab work, I always talk to the realtor first. I say what's the cheapest, but at the same time, like what's gonna create a home, and then what's gonna sell the most. Like what's gonna be your boom, it's gonna sell. What's the hot thing? What's the new thing, so to speak? So I always ask my realtor first. So that's how I decide to answer your question. Sorry, it may not be clear. The lead I have currently has a cloudy title. It seems the seller owes on federal tax or quite. Can a seller financing be possible to do still? Probably not. If they're the seller that's going to not pay the taxes, what makes you think they're going to pay the taxes when you do seller financing with them? So it's a red flag for me. So the question should be, can I still do seller financing? The question should be, should you do seller financing? And the answer to that question, 70% is no, don't do it. Now, I would also highly recommend getting a real estate attorney and doing a title search. That title search is going to be extremely beneficial for your deal. That's going to be very important as well. What's a common problem with a house that comes up that you don't usually see going through a walkthrough? What are some things you should look to during a walk? So the biggest thing I've seen is mold within the vents and also inside of the walls, framing issues and different things like that. Things that an inspector can't see. So a lot of these questions, guys, can be answered just by you sitting down and thinking for a good 5 minutes using common sense. But some things that inspectors aren't going to see is stuff like through the walls. Within the walls, I know a lot of investors who've had large trouble with things within walls that, they couldn't see. So, we're talking mold in the vents. An environmental inspector wouldn't be a bad thing to get either, because I know a lot of things have been picked up with environmental inspectors that, standard property inspectors are not able to see. Man, it's really hot. Holy cow. It's just so lightheaded. It's like the lights. I'm being microwaved. I'm being eaten. Okay. Do you like flipping or holding to rent properties? I do both right now. So for me, it's kind of tough to give you an answer on that one because I'm currently doing both. Should I pay the fee to drop the APR from 3.75 to 2.7? What are your thoughts on 15-year versus 30-year? So it all depends on what. Like, there's no universal answer. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm gonna say 15 years better for everyone. There's different aspects to both. So it's different. Like, if you're interested in paying off your principal and your cash flow is not an important thing for you right now, then go with the 15. And it honestly depends on what financial situation you're in right now. So for me, right, like, I don't mind doing a 15 because I have a lot of different streams of income. And for me to be more long-term focused and pay down principal is not a bad thing as well. So I always say it depends. Depends on your financial situation. If you're looking to get more cash flow, well, then secure long-term debt at 30, but make sure it's secured. But if you're in, perhaps more financially stable and you're more financially established, then, look at a 15. Just make sure you're not going negative on it. What have you seen in the current market in your area? So I've seen a lot of defaults. So where I live right now and where I also do investing, I see a lot of properties that go back on the market because individuals have overpaid. And they're paying like 4% cap rate on a 9 cap market. Like, it's ridiculous, right? But I'm seeing a lot of defaults. I'm seeing a lot of houses that go back on the market. Hey Dave, can you open that door? It's getting like really stuffy in here. I think the AC is on, but I just need like air. Maybe it's not. But yeah, that's Matt. That's what I'm seeing right now in the current market in my area. I'm seeing a lot of properties that people overpaid for about a year and a half ago, or 2 years, 3 years, and they're going back on the market. I'm also seeing an increase in short sales, which means that banks are starting to become much more lenient on short sales, because I know right now banks are not doing anything. Like, they're very tight-knit. They're very secure. A lot of them are afraid. But I'm seeing the short sale rates go up, meaning that banks are starting to become a little bit more desperate, starting to become more loose, so to speak. I'm sorry, not to use the D word. But that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing a lot of individuals still wanting to get involved with real estate. That's 100 times better. That feels really good. Yes. Thank you, Dave. Dave saves the day once again. So yeah, Matt, long story short, that's what I'm seeing right now. In my current market, pretty much. Any other questions, guys? We still got about 15, 20 minutes left. Man, I'm starving. I don't know what I should do for lunch. Sam's wife packed lunch for me, so shout out to Grace. Shout out to Sam's wife. And also shout out to Sam, even though he's in the other room. Literally, shout out to Sam. No pun intended. And while I'm at it, shout out to Joel, who's killing it on the phones. Shout out to Dave, who opened the door for me and saved my life. But yeah, any other questions, guys, on real estate investing? I guess there's some other things I should talk about. A lot of people have been saying that a recession is going to occur in 2020. I couldn't agree more. Some may say the recession's already happening. I know a lot of great economists have already, like David Schilling has been saying that the recession's already going on right now because of what he's seeing. I couldn't agree more with that either. But I think the real recession, to where people start freaking out, it's going to happen next year, right, in 2020. All right, let's see. Any other questions, guys, on real estate investing? Do you guys want me to break down a deal I'm working on?
Yeah.
I heard a yes, so that's what I'll do. All right, so let's go to the whiteboard. I heard a yeah. Right? That's a new thing. I gotta hit the whoa, right? Oh. All right, so let's go to the whiteboard here. So this is a deal that I'm currently working on right now. It is actually a nightly rental deal. So it's a deal that I'm working on. It's a single family house. And I'm looking to acquire it now for $200,000. It's 4 beds, 2.5 bath. in Indiana. And right now the split between myself, my business partner, and the investor gets 20% of the deal of the LLC, and they're also getting a minimum of 15% return annualized, with a minimum IRR of 20%. All right. So $200,000 covers acquisition and furnishings. So I should mention that this exit strategy that I'm currently doing is a nightly rental. So one of the things I'm really big on right now is acquiring nightly rentals that currently have low value, so low value housing markets. So houses where they have low value but high appreciation potential. Now, I never buy based on appreciation. That is one of the most irrefutable laws in real estate investing. If you are buying, appreciation should have nothing to do with your buying process. It shouldn't even be a factor, but it's a plus, right? It's a nice little plus. And high nightly rental income. So I want low value, high income. Pretty standard, right? So with acquisitions and furnishings, I'm in it for about $200K, right? Now, the gross payout, average gross payout, based on data and research, and again, that is derived from comparables of income. So income comparables. And you could do stuff like airdna.co, where you can actually purchase the data for that market, and you could look at the different income comparables. You could also look at attractions and traffic. And also that's going to depend on how good you are at being a host. So a lot of host algorithms. So this research has derived me to lead me to believe that my average gross payout is going to be $8,000 a month. Based on my income comparables and my attractions, traffic. So the $8,000 a month is going to provide me, let's see, 8 times 12, that's $96,000 a year. Right? Yes, $96,000 a year. Now, obviously, the property expenses are not going to be as expensive because it's still a $200,000 house. So what I'm currently looking at is around $3,000 a year in taxes. Between the Airbnb expenses, which is cleaning, maintenance, supplies, right, etc. That I'm looking at around $1,200 a month. And then that's a year, so 3,000. I should probably use my calculator. So 3,000 divided by 12. That's $250 a month. $250 a month. My insurance, that's gonna run me $100 a month. So any property maintenance / expenses, repairs, right? So that's for the property, not the Airbnb aspect. I'm gonna go ahead and estimate $500 a month. And I always just put miscellaneous. So right now we're at 250, 100, 350, 15. So we're at 2,505. Right? And I'll just tack on an extra 150 just miscellaneous, just in case. So I'm at $2,200 a month in expenses. Now, if I take that number and I subtract, I got $5,800 a month. And that's my true NOI. With my Airbnb expenses, property expenses, everything gone, my true NOI is $5,800. Now, my investor gets 20% of the gross payout. So I could give them 20% of the expenses, but I like my investors and I treat them very well. So I give them 20% of the $8,000 gross payout, which means they get that 20% off this number and not that number. So they're getting $1,600 a month. So minus $1,600, which is the investor. You can close the door, yeah. Payout. I'm now at $4,200 a month, which you split that between my business partner and I cash flow $2,100 a month. Just me, just on my end, right? And my business partner is the Airbnb guy, so he's the host. So it's great because I get to just kind of just sit on my couch and have him take care of everything. I just take care of the acquisition and all the real estate part. But let's calculate the investor's return while we're at it. So they're getting $19,200 a year in terms of their cash on cash, which would divide that by 200,000. That's a 9.6% cash on cash return. Now, I still have to hit that 15%, 20% number, which is why I give them 20% of the LLC. Because, well, the property is paid off, right? So because the property is paid off, they have themselves $40,000 in equity. And on top of it, they get any appreciation that's added. On top of it, they get the depreciation, which means I take that $200,000 acquisition, I account the building itself. So that should be around, let's say $140,000 in terms of what the actual house is going to cost. And they also get the depreciation. So that's $5,000 a year. And with some investors, I give them the whole depreciation just because a lot of them need it because they're high income individuals. So that adds an extra 2.5. So that puts me at around 12.5% if I'm doing cowboy math. So you guys kind of get the picture, plus they get the appreciation and the other things as well. Now, if to the point where it's not high enough, I increase that 20% to a 25% so that I can increase that rate of return for them, right? So it's just something that I, because I always try and give my investors a good rate of return. If you feel like I went a little too fast, guys, check out our other videos where I analyze deals. And also check out our program, because we analyze a lot of deals there as well. But let's go back to the questions. What do you do if the market has buyers willing to buy apartments for 4 or 5% cap rate? What creative strategies can you use to make an offer more attractive? Oh, man. For me, I wait it out. I don't even go near it. I wait it out. Or I use seller financing because if sellers has a lot of tax implications that they need to face, I know seller financing does address that. But if I'm competing with somebody that's going to pay, 3-4% cap rate lower, then for me, I know they're not going to do well because I know they're overpaying for the building, and I'm probably going to see that building back on the market in 2-3 years anyway. So I wait. And a lot of investing is about patience. It's a lot about patience and self-control. A lot of times it's the deals that you don't do that make the most sense. How do you run comps? Do you use MLS or? Yeah, so I pull comps from CMAs, like comparable market analysis. If you have a realtor that works with you, you could have them pull one up. I also go on Zillow, but I see the ones that are just sold. So I'll use the sold data. I also use online tax deeds offices or recorders offices to where I actually get to see what properties got sold and bought at what price. So that's how I run comps. In your video, your first rental property at 23, you say the first thing you did was comp. So Vargas, I actually did my first deal at 22. The video you saw was with Sam, and the first thing that he did was run comp. So that is something that I disagree with. So as the individual that does the real estate today, and back then Sam and I kind of did the real estate 50-50. And we learned that I struggle with marketing and the YouTube stuff, but Sam is really good at that. So we now have different lanes in our business. Not to say that Sam doesn't know what he's talking about in real estate, because he still does, right? He still definitely has been around me and learned a lot in real estate to be able to make a video on that. But for me, as the practitioner, as somebody who does this on a day-to-day basis, the first thing that I do to acquire a rental property is first raise the money. And number two, I learn that market as much as I can. Now, I learned that market through a different way. I don't learn that market through comps. For me, there's more to the market than just numbers. I try and figure out the story. I try and figure out who are the big players. I try and figure out what is the activity and the trend in that market. One of the best ways I do that, if I want to learn the market, is easy. I get on the phone with some of their top brokers, a property manager, and also the mailman. You heard me correctly. I actually talked to the mailman, right? So the people who deliver mail, that's who I talk to. I get on the phone with the individual who has been working as the mailman for like 20 plus years. They will tell you more about that market than any realtor, broker, or property manager. The mailman will I repeat, the mailman, the guy who goes door to door delivering mail, will tell you more about a real estate market than a property manager, a realtor, broker. I absolutely guarantee it. That has been my number one way of getting to know a place. Not only that, my number one way to source a deal. So I 100%. So in my opinion, talk to the mail person, talk to the postmaster. They will tell you more about that rental property, if in terms of the first thing, than any other person. Then you get the comps, because the comps are just numbers. The comps is just data, guys, right? That's the content. You want to have the context to put that content with, right? It's not enough to just have a bullet. You need a gun to have the bullet in the gun to fire, right? Like, the bullet's great. You need a bullet. Without a bullet, the gun's nothing, right? You need to have both. You need to have the content and you need to have the context. So hopefully that answers your question. If there's no other questions, guys, I'm gonna close out this live real estate Q&A. It's around 11:55, but I know we started like 10 minutes early as well. But hopefully that answered. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@thekwakbrothers.com. That's info@thekwakbrothers, TheKwakBrothers. If you guys are also wanting more content and you are interested in our program, feel free to check out thekwakbrothers.com/learn. That's thekwakbrothers.com/learn. Thank you so much for spending this hour with me. I'll see you guys next Monday at 11 a.m. Central Time. I'll see you guys all next week.